Thomas Edison once said, if we do all the things that we are capable of, we would literally astound ourselves. Now, think about that. Not just the genius of the quote, but the life changing implications. Edison wasn't only talking about invention, he was talking about human capacity. He was talking about you. Imagine if every idea, every silent dream, every dormant potential inside of you came alive. Would your life feel the same? Would you feel like your work inspired the same results? Would your family and community notice the changes inside of you? The truth is, most of us live far below our potential, not because we lack the ability, but because we underestimate our own power. You possess an untapped power that is within yourself. You are built for greatness. This is the premise of the book that I wrote, Empower X. Every one of us, no matter whether you believe you were created by God or through the evolutionary process or whatever it was, every single one of us was created for greatness. Every single one of us has greatness genetically instilled in us. And we're going to cover a lot of that on this topic. We're talking motivation this week, probably next week as well, because without motivation, you're not going to set goals. You're not going to achieve those goals. You're not going to do the things that you need to do in life. Everybody thinks of motivational as somebody sitting there cheering somebody on. Motivation is so much more than that. Motivation is something you need to have inside of you. And that's something you're going to have in order to find that greatness that is inside of you. You know it's inside of you. Every single one of us knows that that greatness is inside of us. We just need to be able to tap into it and find it. This isn't a cliche. It's not a rah, rah, rah motivational sense. Like I said, no cheerleading. It's a very real biological, spiritual, creative, motivational sense that we need to tap into in order to make our lives what we need to make it. Every person on this planet, every person alive carries a combination of gifts. You have talents, you have energies, you have things that don't exist in anybody else in the past, and they will never exist in anybody else in the future. The talents that you have, yes, you pass a lot of them on to your children, but not all of them. Some of them, they don't have a propensity for it. The talents that you got, some of them you got from your parents. Some of them, believe it or not, you probably got from your grandparents, great grandparents, even further away. That unique combination that you have is unique only to you. You are a once in human history event. That is how great you are. I'm not even going to get into the odds that you are even here, even in existence, even listening to me. They're astronomical. By so many notions, you are great. You need to accept that. You need to tap into that. And we're going to do that by motivating ourselves. Because so often, all of those talents, everything that we have, they go unused. They go unnoticed by anybody else because we don't exhibit them. We don't make use of them. Why? Because we've been conditioned to play small. We've been conditioned to stay safe, to not rock the boat, to conform, to show up at the factory and punch a time card and do what we're told to do by the factory overlords and check back out. And I don't mean to sound crazy, but you know what I'm talking about. That is not what we were built for. We were not built to be submissive. We were not built to just listen to what other people tell us and do it. We were built to set our own path. We start believing that excellence is reserved for a few and that success is for those who get lucky. The genius is somebody else's story, not ours. But Edison knew, and we know, the man who failed over 1,000 times. That's what they called Thomas Edison. Before he perfected the light bulb, he knew a deeper truth inside of his heart that the boundary between ordinary and extraordinary, it isn't talent, it's effort, it's belief, it's the willingness to keep going when others quit. That is also, my friend, motivation. Do you know, or maybe you can feel it, that there is a hidden wall between you and greatness? That something's stopping you. That greatness sits inside of you, and your conscious mind right now saying, I want to tap into that greatness. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they can't stop believing they can go further. They can't start believing in themselves. That is a wall. an invisible but real wall that stops us. It's made of fear, made of doubt, made of past experiences, made of limiting thoughts that other people have given to us, that we've heard or read or been instructed by parents, teachers, mentors, whatever. You've heard that inner voice before. Who am I to do that? I've tried that before. It's not going to work. People like me don't get those breaks. I just can't do it. That is the wall. And that is the wall, my friend, that you have set up for yourself. Every time you listen to that voice, that wall, it grows a little bit taller, it grows a little bit thicker. Every time you take an action, every time you do something in opposition to that programming, you chip away that wall. You keep cutting that wall down. I want you to take a moment real quick. Write down a fear, one fear that you feel has been holding you back. Then I want you to ask yourself, what would happen if I move forward despite that fear? No matter what that fear is, what would happen if I actually did it? Okay. Now, if your fear is jumping into the Grand Canyon without a parachute, the answer is pretty clear. That's not something that we need to conquer. That's a rational fear. Okay. Talking about irrational fears that you have. What would happen if you kept going past that fear that is holding you back, that limiting belief that is keeping you from moving forward? Because that's what Edison meant. He wasn't saying dream more. He was saying do more with what you already have. Edison's life was a masterclass in persistence. When he was asked how it felt to fail 1,000 times, he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. It took me 1,000 steps to get to inventing a light bulb that worked. Persistence is never about failing. It's about refusing to let failure define your limits. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, it's built on momentum or attempts that didn't work. Michael Jordan, often called the greatest basketball player ever, he was cut from his basketball team. What if he stopped there? When most people run into something like that, they quit. They quit, not because they've reached their limits, it's because they've reached the edge of their comfort zone. Somebody else told them the reality that they need to be in. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players ever, great athlete all around. If he had let being removed from his high school basketball team stop him from playing basketball, he would have never exhibited that greatness. He probably would not be the person he is now, because that is what pushed him. That is what got him to where he is now, is his career in basketball. He didn't let that stop him. That's because he knew that growth lives beyond the edge. It lives beyond the edge of what you're willing to do if you are in a mindset that there's that wall holding you back. So I'm going to ask you, are you ready to see what you're capable of? Are you ready to start breaking away that wall? Are you ready to start getting out of your comfort zone, to start not listening to what other people are telling you, things that are holding you back? Close your eyes, and I want you to imagine 5 years from now, you've done everything you promised yourself you would do right now. Everything that you're going to promise yourself in this next week, based upon this conversation, 5 years from now, you've done it. Where would you be? You've taken the risk. You've made the moves. You've learned from your setbacks, because nothing's going to happen. It's not going to be perfect. We are going to learn lessons along the way. You've become the version of yourself you always knew was inside of you. That version of yourself that you knew was possible if you would just get there. Imagine it. Think about it. What's it feel like? What's it look like? Think about it. Where are you? Where are you living? What type of a home are you living in? What type of clothes are you wearing? What city, what state are you living in? What does it feel like? What does it look like? Because you cannot become what you can't see. If you can't visualize it in your mind, if you can't imagine it, how are you going to get there? Your vision is your compass. Your vision is your guiding star. Your potential expands in proportion to what you believe is possible. I want you to take another quick second, grab that pen and paper, write down a bold vision for your life, one that excites you and scares you at the same time. Again, remember, we're removing limits, okay? So think big. Don't think unrealistically, but think big. If we're removing limits and we are going to shoot for the stars, what is that bold vision for your life? I want you to write it down. Now I'm going to ask you, are you ready to start breaking your limiting beliefs? If you want to astound yourself, you have to break those beliefs that hold you back. If you want to move forward in life, in your dreams, in your goals, you have to break those beliefs that hold you back. Now, those beliefs that are holding you back, most of the times they're not realistic. They're not actual. They are things that other people pushed on you. And it could have been that they gave you that programming because they didn't want you to succeed. They may not have wanted you to succeed because they were too lazy to go ahead and succeed themselves. They didn't want you to succeed and show them up. And you know what? Believe it or not, a lot of times people get this programming from their parents. They get this programming from their siblings. They get this program from their teachers. They're called limiting beliefs. We're going to throw them away. We're going to cut through them. You're going to have to spend some time on your own establishing what those are and how you're going to get past it, and you're going to do it. 3 beliefs that almost every single person has in themselves. Beliefs that are wrong. I'm not ready yet. Procrastination. It's easier to just keep kicking it down the street. It's easier to just say, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it when I'm ready. You say, you know what, I need more information on this. I need more money. I need more of this. I need more of that. Those are excuses. Those are things that are holding you back from just doing it now. The truth is, you're never going to feel fully ready. You're never going to say, oh, I've got enough information, I can do this now. I have enough money, I can do this now. I have enough confidence, I can do this now. You're never going to be at that point. So understand that you're going to have to get past that. Growth creates readiness. Understand those are limiting beliefs. You can throw them away, and they are not going to negatively affect your life. They're going to positively affect your life. Belief number 2, I need someone else's permission. You don't need anybody else's permission. The only permission that you need is your own permission. And ironically, the only person who's going to help you get ahead is you. The only person who's going to push you to get where you need to be is you. And the only person that's going to hold you back, the only person that's going to keep telling you, no, you can't do it, no, you can't do it, and actually have any kind of control over you is you. You are responsible for your success. You are responsible for your failure. What do you choose? I choose success. Belief number 3, I don't have what it takes. The reality is you have more than you've accessed. There is more to you than you are willing to use. The problem isn't your capabilities. It is you believing in yourself and understanding what you have to offer. I call it belief activation. The answers are inside of you. The skills are inside of you. If there is a skill that you need along the way, by all means, find it. Hire somebody to bring that skill and partner with somebody to bring that skill. But there's absolutely nothing that keeps you from doing what you want to do. Oprah Winfrey, she came from a poor family. She was in poverty. She dealt with abuse. She dealt with rejection when she was a child, all the way up, I think, into her teens. She could have let all of that define who she was going to be. So many people have. So many people have. And you know who they are. And you can drive around in certain neighborhoods where that type of thing happens all the time. And I'm not saying any type of color. There's socioeconomic problems across the board. But you know that there are people who have that. You know that there are people who have let that beat them. They have let that define who they are. They are not so-and-so. They are the abused wife, or they are the abused child. Now, a child can't define who they are, but when they're an adult, they carry that around with them. Oh, I was abused as a child. I can't do this. I was abused as a child. No. These are all obstacles that you can get past. And really quick, I want to say, if you ever know of a child that's being abused, I want you to please do something about it. Don't confront the abuser. I want you to call a law enforcement agency, or I want you to call social services. That is absolutely one of the most inexcusable crimes that anybody could commit. Back to Oprah Winfrey. She believed in her potential, and she became one of the most influential women alive. I haven't heard about it in a couple of years, but I believe she still has the title of being the woman with the most successful, and I say woman, privately owned production company. Before Oprah, it was Lucille Ball, another success story. Oprah did not let it hold her back. Michael Jordan didn't let it hold her back. So many people that we look at through history, they didn't let it hold them back. Steve Jobs, I believe he was adopted, and he did everything that he did in the garage. Maybe it was Jeff Bezos. I don't remember. A lot of people started their businesses in a garage, which means so can you. Think about it real quick, just to get off on a side note. Steve Jobs created Apple in his basement or his garage. Uh, Michael Dell, I remember when he was selling computers out of the trunk of his car. He was building them at his apartment and selling them out of the trunk of his car at the University of Texas in Austin. Microsoft was started in a basement. Amazon was started in a garage. The only difference between those individuals and you, it's not because they had a hook. It's not because they had a great idea. They didn't have this revolutionary thought. The only difference between them and you is they did it. They said, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to let it stop me. How difficult do you think it was to run a business out of a basement or out of a garage? How many hurdles do you think they had to overcome to do that? So many of us are positioned right now that we could do better. We could literally go out and get an office building or a warehouse and start our business. We have a nice bedroom at our house where we could make that our office and we could do business from it. How many obstacles did these people get through to be a success? The only difference that they have between them and you is they decided they were going to do it. They didn't let anything hold them back. They didn't let something else define who they were or who they were going to be. They decided for themselves, this is who I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to do. And they keep reinventing themselves. They keep doing more. Are you ready to start changing your life? Are you ready for some daily practices that are going to astonish you? Things you can do starting now. And I want you to start now, because the sooner you get this done, the sooner you're going to get to the greatness that you deserve, the greatness that is inside of you. Now, here's how to make this real, these exercises, okay? I want you to make them a part of your regular lives. I want you to make it a daily rhythm that's going to activate your potential. In the morning, I want you to do morning intentions. And a lot of times, I didn't do it this morning, but most mornings I actually do a little video, and it is just a thought for the day or a reinforcing mantra just to say to yourself. Look some up on the internet, come up with your own. But I want you to, in addition to what you're going to tell yourself every morning, I want you to ask yourself, what one thing can I do today that moves me closer to my potential? And when I say moves me closer to my potential, what one thing can I do today that gets me closer to achieving my goals, to realizing my goals, to being where I want to be right now? And guess what? When you get there, do you think Jeff Bezos, when he set his goals to be one of the richest men in the world? Maybe he did. At some point, he kept realigning his goals and realigning his goals. And that's perfectly fine. You don't have to set your goal to be the richest man in the world. Set your goals to be a multimillionaire. I want to have $5 million by this time 5 years from now. So $1 million a year is what you need to make. I want to have $5 million by this time in 2 years. Roughly 1.75 million that you're going to have to make every single year in order to accomplish that. Do you have a way to do that? Then get on it. Get on it, because you're not going to achieve that if you don't make it happen. Okay? Make it real. Tell yourself, okay, what one thing can I do that moves me closer to being that person? Make a commitment, an action commitment. Do it, even if it is small or uncomfortable. What action are you going to take that is going to be an action that's going to get you to where you need to be? In the evening, I want you to reflect on. In fact, your best bet is to grab a pen and paper. I'm looking at my desk for a pen here. Grab a pen, grab some paper, and write down what happened in the day. Write down where you are, where you want to be, the progress that you made that particular day, or any setbacks that you made that particular day. If something happened and it pushed you back, write it down. That is how we learn. Having those references to refer to moving forward, it helps us also. At night, reflection. Did I live up to my capability today, or did I play small? Did I do everything I was supposed to do? Could I have done more, or did I just phone it in? Now, these small daily practices, they're going to compound. They're going to grow. They're going to build. And what seems minor today becomes remarkable tomorrow, becomes even more remarkable next month. You have to commit, though. Commit to one small action that you're going to do today that scares you, and start growing from there. Track it. Like I said, journal. Keep track of your progress and your setbacks. Track it for a week. Track it for a month. Track it for 6 months and a year. Once you start doing this, you're going to look forward to writing it down and reading where you've been. Watch your experience grow. Watch your confidence grow. Watch yourself grow towards where you want to be, where you need to be in order to be great. So that brings us to purpose. Your purpose is to be great. And purpose is the engine of potential. Potential without purpose, it feels empty. It is empty. Purpose gives your energy a mission. When you align what we're going to tap into, that energy that's inside of you, when you align that with a purpose, and your purpose is going to be achieving your goals, doing what you want to do in life, being the person you need to be in life for yourself, for your family, for your spouse, for your children, for your community. That is your purpose. Align all of this with your purpose. And your purpose is going to be different than my purpose. And that's perfectly fine. Okay. All of our purposes, they're different. But until we find out who we are and until we can be true to who we are, we don't know what that purpose is. Okay. So we're going to find that purpose and we're going to align with it. Once we do, we put our energy into this. Once we do, your courage is going to multiply. You are not going to be afraid to do these things that you were afraid to do. You're going to be, this is not a problem. Your courage is going to multiply. Your focus is going to be sharp. It's going to be laser tuned on what you need to do. Your resilience is going to be stronger. It's not going to bother you if you trip over something or run into a speed bump. You're going to know, I can do this. This isn't going to hold me back. This is not a big deal. Purpose turns I can into I will. I will, I did. Ask yourself, why am I here? What difference can I make with my life? What difference can I make in other people's lives? What difference can I make in this world? Because potential expressed without purpose, it may impress, but it's not going to fulfill. It's empty. I know we don't want to hear about it. We don't want to think about it, but we need to embrace failure as a feedback. And once we do that, we can get past it. Like I said, our resilience, it's going to grow. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about failure. Most people fear failure, but failure is a teacher. This is where we get our lessons from. We don't learn from something that's easy. We learn from something that's hard. We learn from challenges. And that's the way life was created, like it or not. Failure is a teacher. It is a learning opportunity. The more failures we have, not that we should look forward to them, but the more opportunities we have to learn and to grow. And the great thing about that is once we overcome that failure, we have the internal tools. We are equipped with the knowledge to be able to get past that failure next time. We know how to deal with it because we've done it before. We've beat it. And if we have a failure that's really kicking our butt, we find somebody else who's dealt with that failure in the past themselves. And we ask them, what did you do? What do you think I should do? We might need to partner with them, whatever it is. The answers, the solutions, they're out there. A lot of times they're inside of ourselves. But if you're afraid that it's not, trust me, it's out there. Someone else has been through it before. Failure is the world. It's the universe. It's giving you feedback. It's saying you tried, you've learned, you've grown. You're going down this path. And this is what you need to do to get stronger in order to get to the end of the path. Because you know what? If you let that first failure stop you, you're not going to get down the path. If you let that first failure dictate who you're going to be, not a success, you're never going to be a success. You're never going to do what you're supposed to do if you can't break through failure and deal with it. Because all of us have run into fails. All of us have done something that didn't work out. None of us are perfect. I'll give you something else to write down. I want you to write down one failure that you experienced recently. Doesn't have to be phenomenal, but something that was significant, something that you recognize as a failure. Ask yourself, what did this failure teach me? What did I learn from this failure? How did it prepare me for my next breakthrough? How did it make you stronger for where you're going? How did it make you stronger for if you have to deal with it again? But how did it make you stronger for something else? Because a lot of times our failures, lessons that we learn, they make us stronger and they point us in other directions. They give us more options. They give us more opportunities. So how did it better prepare you for moving forward? When you change your view of failure and you understand that it is actually a gift, you're going to remove one of the greatest barriers to potential, one of the greatest barriers to your potential. I also want to talk about mentors. Mentors are very important. Uh, no one astounds themselves completely alone. You have to find people who are going to get you to where you need to be. Excuse me. Whether it's knowledge, whether it's referral, whether it's a network that you need to build. Okay. It's not impossible to do it by yourself, but why work harder when you can work smarter? Remember, I told you somebody has been through this before. Somebody has done this before. You've heard the old line, if you want to learn how to be a millionaire, you surround yourself with millionaires. When you've got people around you who are just barely getting by, they're living paycheck to paycheck, and you're asking them for advice, financial advice, or investing advice. Hello? It doesn't make sense. If you want to be something else, and I'm not saying someone else, because you're always going to be you. You just need to be the right you. You need to be the best you. But if you want to be somewhere else, doing something else than what you're doing right now, doing something better, being somebody better, you need to surround yourself with the people who are already there. And it could be anything. If you want to be a millionaire, start finding millionaires to surround yourself with. If you want to be a great athlete, start surrounding yourself with those athletes. If you want to be, this can be multifaceted. If I wanted to lose weight, if I wanted to get in shape, then the people who I need to be around are going to be more active. They're going to eat healthier. If I want to be a better investor, I need to tap into networking groups. I need to tap into clubs. I need to put myself with other people who have a great track record of successful investing. It doesn't have to be a whole life situation. You can have different mentors for different segments of your life. And I highly recommend that. It's a great way to also make more friends. It's also a great way to connect, to be more real. Find mentors that are going to push you. They're gonna say, hey, did you do what you needed to do? Did you follow up on this? You told me about this the other day. What did you do about it? Find mentors and friends and family members, especially spouses, that are going to challenge you and they're going to support you. They're going to hold you accountable. Did you do this? Why not? You said you were going to do this. Why didn't you do it? Because you know what? When you have to answer to somebody else, all of a sudden, for whatever reason, it becomes more real than having to answer for yourself. And unless you're going to go into solitude and hide in the corner of your house, or maybe in the garage, or maybe in the basement, and not build a business, you have to be able to be accountable to these other people. And the way you do that is by doing what you need to do, by doing what you said you were going to do, by following the path that you set out, that you shared with them. You want supporters in your life who are going to cheer you on. They're going to hold you accountable, but they're going to cheer you on. When you have successes, they're going to be there cheering you on. They're going to be there saying, that is so freaking awesome. I am so proud of you. And everybody needs that in their life. Everybody wants that in their life. Everybody needs that in their life. I know you say, no, I don't need people. You do. Okay. You need that validation to know that it's not just you. Other people see it as well. And when you surround yourself with that positive energy, you have more positive energy yourself. Great people multiply the potential of other great people. If you've been around great people, you know that. I'm going to tell you a story about Edison, since we started this whole thing off with Edison. Edison had, real quick, before I even go back there, I grew up in Northeast Ohio. When I go back to Cleveland, there is a hotel that I stay at. It's in a building called the Arcade. In that arcade used to be one of the first malls in the United States. It was built in the 1800s. Thomas Edison had a photography studio on the lower level of that mall. And when I walk up and down those marble stairs, there are literally footsteps worn in those stairs from almost 200 years of people, no, I don't know, 100.5 years of people walking up and down those stairs. Thomas Edison and many others, John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, so many greats, walked up and down those stairs. Presidents of the world walked up and down those stairs. But I always think about Thomas Edison when I walk down there and I look at where his shop used to be. There's still, the door is still there. The space is still there. There's something else there now, obviously. When I go there, I think of Thomas Edison. I live in Florida now. I see banyan trees all around. Banyan trees are not native to the United States. They're native to India. The reason we have banyan trees in pretty much the entire state of Florida is because Henry Ford made a gift of a banyan tree to Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison planted it at his estate in Fort Myers. That's the oldest banyan tree in Florida. It is huge. It takes up acres of space. because if you know anything about banyan trees, they just keep dropping roots and dropping roots and dropping roots. Thomas Edison, I think about him all the time. And I think about a lot of people all the time, but I think about him all the time because he is so much a part of our history and our lives. And if we're going to take advice from somebody, wouldn't you say that Thomas Edison is probably a strong person to take advice from? He's a strong person to learn from. So we can learn from his life. We can learn from the things that he did. He failed. But you know what? He had a lot of successes. And a lot of his successes that he had were other people's successes, people who worked for him. So he got the credit. And there's no reason why you can't do the same. Do you think that every single innovation that happened at Apple were as a result of Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak? Do you think every innovation that happened at Microsoft were because of Bill Gates? Do you think every innovation that happens at SpaceX and Tesla and X are as a direct result of Elon Musk? No, they're leaders. They are thought drivers. They put the right people into place to be successful. And you can do the same. Thomas Edison did the same. He had a lab full of collaborators. They shared ideas. They bounced them off of each other. This was something that he instilled in them to do. They tested different concepts and theories, and they were there to support Thomas Edison's vision. They came up with thoughts. They came up with ideas. They presented to him. He said, run with it. Let's do it. Let's do something about it. He took credit for it because they worked for him. And you know what? That's how it goes. You can do the same. You can start building whatever empire it is that you want using people who have the abilities, people who have the skills, people who know how to get whatever it is done. And think of them as puzzle pieces. You put all those puzzle pieces together and you form the right puzzle and you have success. It doesn't have to be a business. It could be the right trainer. It could be the right personal chef. It could be the right whatever combination it is that you need in your life right now to get to where you want to be. You don't have to do it by yourself. The light bulb was not made in isolation. He didn't lock himself in a room and decide what he was going to do. I don't know if you know the story of the light bulb. Thomas Edison didn't actually invent the filament that worked in the light bulb. It's a carbonized piece of paper. And one of his employees, an African American who worked for him, was the one who came up with that carbonized filament that worked. Because it was Thomas Edison's project, Thomas Edison is given credit for creating the light bulb. Now, his theory was that he could illuminate a bulb in a vacuum tube of air. I'm getting really technical, but it was his idea, but it didn't work the way he thought it should work. One of his employees found the way to make it work. And you can be that person, that inspiration that is going to drive you to greatness. One of the ways that you can do that is asking yourself, who did I know, who in my circle, who in my community, who in my church inspires me to push beyond my limits? What family member do I know that is positive and is always pushing me to go beyond where I am now? How can I spend more time with them? How do I get more feedback from them? It's a simple process. The more you're around them, the more they're going to help push you to do better. The more you have broken down that wall that is stopping you and gotten past those limiting beliefs, the easier it's going to be for you to do that. Now, the question that you need to ask yourself is, what if you really did all the things that you're capable of? Remember, getting back to what Thomas Edison said, if we did all the things we were capable, we'd amaze ourselves. Stop holding yourself back. Stop shrinking. Stop doubting. Give yourself permission to shine. Give yourself unrestricted permission to be the person that you're supposed to be. Unrestricted permission to be great. Take the step, write the book, start the business, speak your truth, launch the idea, do whatever it is that you're going to do that is going to define who you need to be. Somewhere inside of you, there's a vision. The person who you were always meant to become. When we were children, we were able to tap into that. We knew. No one could tell us any different. We knew who we were going to be, and that was it. Somewhere along the line, our programming got changed. It got crushed. And we were told, no, you can't do that. No, you need to do this. No, you need to do that. Guess what? Throw it all away. Get back to your original child, the real you, who knew what was what. It's time to be the person you were supposed to be. Take some time. Get rid of all of the garbage and the noise. and meet the person that is inside of you, who is the real you, the authentic you, the person who's saying, hey, get me out of here. I want to be great. Edison said we would astound ourselves. And I think in order to give a little bit of props to Edison, I think we need to do it. I think we need to say, you know what, Tom Edison, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take these notes I just wrote down listening to Kevin, and I'm going to do it. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Kevin. So I want you, as we wrap up, I want you to get out there. I want you to do things that are going to astound yourself. I want you to do things that push the limits. I want you to do things that say, wow, I'm glad I did that. Because your potential is waiting. Your purpose is waiting. And your moment is now. So live fully. Push past the fear. Embrace truth. Commit to the higher self. Commit to your higher self. Commit to the greatness that's inside of you. The world needs you. They need real. They need raw. They need powerful. They need capable. They need you.